Hello guys, hello mga anak. I wasn't gonna do something today in terms of being on YouTube, but since things were just popping up, and then I saw this Malcolm person. I'm not really sure where is he coming from, but he said that he is really a DDS, so diehard Duterte supporter, and yet he is saying that if he would be a voter, but of course he's not a voter because he's not from here in the Philippines, he's from somewhere else, right? But he said that if he was a Filipino and he was a voter, he would prefer to choose Bongbong Marcos and Sara Duterte, and yet he was giving all these things that he was really impressed of what Duterte has done in the country and what his family has done in the country or whatever. But I just don't seem to understand that if you are really a person who is trying to give all these compliments to the president, and yet you are not supporting what would be the next president that he wanted to to push right there, just like Bongbong, like Bongo, okay, Senator Bongo. So it's not only him. I'm also referring to, of course, the girl Maharlika, and then Tunying, Thinking Pinoy. These were the people before who've been trying really hard in order to support Duterte during his earlier terms or earlier times. That was the reason why everybody has been mocking me, okay? And then until to such time that I was already given a chance to really find out who the hell is this President Duterte is all about. So I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of things about our president, and then I have already figured out that this person is really a genius guy. Plus, in terms of his leadership, I couldn't ask for any other person who would do such thing like what he has done to our country in terms of peacefulness and whatever he has done and whatever he has contributed. So I just don't understand, if they claim to be DDS, if they claim to be supporting President Duterte, and then why is it that they cannot support whoever the choice of our president is, and which is Bongo? Because just like what he said, there's no other loyal person who would be able to do whatever he has done, whatever he has accomplished, and he couldn't let anybody, not just anybody, okay, except this person who's been there for him for how many years already. I'm not really sure how many years already, but long enough in order for him to really trust this person. Of course, we might say that BBM is a person that the family can actually be acquainted with, for the rest of their lives or whatever, if that's really the case, especially in terms of Sara Duterte, because he has already considered BBM as a person, as a trusted friend, and as a trusted person in terms of being a politician, and that's the reason why she has chosen him, instead of being on the party of Bongo, or instead of being a person, with Bongo as the vice presidential candidate of Bongo at this point. But she has finalized to go to BBM instead. So, and that's the reason why it's really, really very complicated at this point, because everybody seemed to be very, very loyal to Sara Duterte. Of course, they're saying that, oh, Sara, you want Sara, and whatever. And so what happened to the father? What happened to PRRD? And I cannot blame him why he would really be upset why the daughter eventually went to BBM instead of being with Bongo in the first place. But I'm not really sure what's gonna happen anyway. I mean, we just don't know. This is just a trick. This is just one of those strategy. It's just one of those strategies, I'd say. And then, of course, with my own assumption, I might say that once BBM later on is going to be disqualified, and I'm sure that Sarah's still gonna go back to Bongo. Well, it's just an assumption, okay? It's just an assumption that later on, because I'm really very sure that, they're not doing this for nothing, okay? They've been putting so much effort in order to disqualify or in order to do something so Bongbong wouldn't be able to continue, his candidacy as the president of the Philippines, for 2022. So, I just have this assumption. I mean, it's just an assumption, okay? I'm not 100% sure, but it's just an assumption that later on, once they have already disqualified Bongo, because I'm sure that right now, President Duterte has been doing everything in order to do something because he knows that BBM is actually a strong competition in terms of being the president, And of course, everybody seemed to be very, very loyal or seemed to be very, very excited, in terms of BBM at this point. So right now, it's just an assumption that Sara Duterte will eventually go back to Bongo once he's been disqualified, because I am really very sure that before Sarah had come up with this kind of decision going to BBM at this point, but I am sure everything has been planned, everything has been talked about. So I mean, of course, they just pretended that they didn't know what was happening, especially when Sarah just went out there and filed for her candidacy being the vice president, but then we just don't know. I mean, PRRD might have been just pretending that he didn't know what was happening. He didn't know about the candidacy of Sara Duterte. But I'm sure everything has been talked about. Everything has been planned. Everything has been, I mean, it's some kind of a strategy. Because from the start, we know already that President Duterte is a great strategist in terms of his political ventures or political journey, okay? He wouldn't stay in politics like that for so many years if he didn't know what he was doing. And of course, his family is a part of it. So I'm not sure that what they're doing right now is really the real plan. I am sure that at the end, I mean, who wants to have a broken family in terms of politics wise, okay? So I mean, they tend to lose everybody's minds, because like for Sarah going to BBM, and of course in terms of voting for the president, a lot of DDS would go for BBM, and some of the DDS also would go for Bongo. So I mean, they have been divided, okay, instead of just focusing on one person. Well, especially all these people right now who've been very, very loyal to him, who've been there for him, supporting President Duterte for a long time since he actually became the president, or before he became the president, until he became the president, until such time that this 2022 election is already starting, and then all of a sudden some of them are already going on the other party. So of course, if BBM is going to win, for example, it's just an example, okay? If BBM is going to win, are you sure he's gonna be loyal? Of course not. The first thing he would say what the hell? Why should I follow you? Why do I have to be loyal to you? While in fact, you have already discredited me, you know. At first, you have already discredited. So, all these things, Marcos or Bongbong or BBM is going to use all those things in order not to be loyal to president. So obviously, he's not going to be continuing all the legacies or all the whatever he has done, all the projects or all the goals and all the other stuff that that president has already started. So if Bongo is going to win, and obviously he is going to continue everything that our president has started. And do you know the reason why I don't go with Bongbong? Although I was very, very impressed with the father. Well, of course, because I don't believe that the mentality or the intelligence or the principles or the goals or everything that the father had before, I don't believe that this Bongbong has them too. Because he's dead. He's dead. Unlike Sara Duterte, although I don't believe if she's the only one who's going to plan or who's going to think or who's going to manage or neutralize or to be productive or whatever, I don't believe she can do it. So I don't believe that Sarah would be able to do it if not because of the father. And that's the reason I have beliefs that Sarah would be able to manage being a person in a higher position, especially on a national level. I do believe that she would be able to do it because the father is still there. He's pretty much alive. So I am sure that if she would need an assistance or a guidance or a supervision of President Duterte, I am sure that President Duterte is still going to be there, is always going to be there in order to support Duterte in terms of whatever she is going to do in our country. Okay? Well, especially with Bongo. So I am very, very much, I am so thankful that it's not Sarah who is actually running as a president right now, because I'd rather want Bongo, which is he is the one right now. Because before, I've always been a follower, or I mean, whatever Bongo has done. I mean, especially in the Senate or whatever, everything that has been happening in the Senate, and then in terms of Bongo, I've always been very, very much aware of it. But of course, being a Senate, a person in the Senate, I mean, there are some people right there who really wanted to be who really wanted to be ahead of him instead of validating whatever he wanted to come up with, especially in terms of an issue with regards to he wanted to put more hospitals, or he wanted to put more COVID-19 facilities or whatever. So in terms of like that, and then of course everybody was just trying to stop him or whatever. I'm not really sure, were they, what were they thinking? They didn't know that since we are already in this pandemic crisis, and they should focus on this issue first about the COVID-19 facilities and stuff, and especially all those medical people who are doing everything in order to save everybody, but of course, they can just save everybody. They can just, they could just save people that they could, but they're doing everything in order to help, or in order to support, or in order to risk themselves. They even risk themselves and their family, of course. So they've been risking their family, of course, just to be able to do their best, as what they have already started, because they are the frontliners, there are the medical doctors, there are the nurses, and everybody who are actually involved in helping all these people who are in our pandemic crisis, and especially all those COVID patients like me, because I came from there. I was a COVID patient as well, and that's when I realized how important it is about the issue that Bongo has been trying to open when he was there at the Senate. Okay, so, and that was the reason why I really believe that Bongo is the perfect person for, for this, being the president of our country, because he is the one who's been there, for so many years already. So he can apply whatever our president has already started. So he'd just be able to continue them. And then, I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, like, believing Bongo is just like believing in Duterte. Okay? It's just like how we apply the Bible. If we believe Jesus Christ, that means that we believe about the Father as well. So, I mean, and that's the reason why I'm doing everything in order to explain also why PRRD has chosen Bongo to be his presidential candidate instead of going to another person, especially what he calls weak. In terms of Bongbong Marcos being so weak. Well, I am going to discuss about that further later on, because a lot of people has been trying, they've been trying to mock PRRD because of the fact that he has mentioned about BBM being a weak person and a spoiled brat. Well, you have no idea what a spoiled brat means. Meaning to say, for those people who had, who have a hard time thinking that why did the President Duterte call Bongbong Marcos a very, very, very weak person and a very spoiled brat person. Well, I am going to do that topic later on my next video, okay? So please hang on, because I'll continue some other time. Please don't forget to subscribe and push the bell button for more videos. Thank you.